Where does he get those wonderful audio commentaries? That's right, you found another audio commentary with Stryker of Enyo. This time it's going to be the first two Metal Gear Solid videos, more specifically the top 10 beginner tips and the top 10 advanced tips for Metal Gear Solid 5. If you're a fan of my Metal Gear Solid 5 videos, then you're in for a treat. I have already made a commentary for my massive video on Metal Gear Solid 5, the top 20 advanced tips, Ultimate Edition. But now we will go back to where it all started, you know, roughly, where we are going to watch my original top 10 beginner tips and the top 10 advanced tips. Then in a separate video, we will watch the first remake video I did, the top 20 beginner tips, Ultimate Edition. I have not done a full audio commentary on these three videos before, so this is going to be pretty interesting to hear the whole story. At least for those that are interested. Now, since we are essentially going back to the past and covering the first two videos, I am going to be repeating probably some of the details that you've heard in other audio commentaries or other videos, or even other postings that I've done. Sorry about this, but I am, in a way, kind of restarting these audio commentaries by covering the very first things, so I need to give you a little bit of background into some of the things that I had to deal with Upload Studio and whatnot, but any proper history or any further backstory stuff, we're going to talk about that at the end of the video, so let's just get into the videos first, and then we can talk about other stuff. All right, here we go. Stryker of Enyo here with the big one. This is beginner tips for Metal Gear. Jeez, I even said that this was the big one. Well, I mean, it was big to me, even though this is like what 16 minutes. It probably is more fitting that during the when I remade this video, the top 20 beginner tips Ultimate Edition, I also said that this is the big one. Although I actually I say this is the big one on the next one too, the top 10 advanced tips. But anyway, so yeah, this is the original top 10 beginner tips. And shortly after releasing it, I made the follow-up video to it, the top 10 advanced tips. And I made about 22 some videos for Metal Gear Solid 5. Not all of them ended up showing up on YouTube, but I made basically all of these within the first about 2 or 3 weeks of the game releasing in 2015. And I immediately, when I was making these videos, even though they didn't show up on YouTube until a year later, I was actually putting these on the upload service. So yeah, that's the whole thing, is that, you know, Microsoft had this thing called Upload, and they included, yeah, that's right. There's all the titles and whatnot on the screen have to be put in. Like there's no Adobe Premiere Pro. You know, like everything I had to put on screen had to be about 20 characters long, and it had to work in Upload Studio. Right now, you are probably looking at an image that is either reversed or blurry or turned black and white, or I might do the effect of adding all three of those, because surprisingly enough, back when I was originally putting these videos out, Konami would ID content any images of the dog like this, especially the Lion King, you know, holding up the little doggy to the sun, you know, type move. Any images of that was blatantly, I mean, it wasn't blocked, but like Konami basically claimed any of the images of the dog, or at least the puppy, the dog in puppy form. You know, like, I don't know why. I guess they figured like everybody would be showing the little puppy being held up to the sun, like in Lion King. I don't know. But yeah, they claimed all those videos. That's also kind of why I ended up taking down this original top 10 beginner tips video. But yeah, you know, ultimately, like, I made this, and then I made the top 10 advanced tips. And this video here, it got to about 1,500 views, and it stopped there. And then I had the top 10 advanced tips, and that got to about 2,500 views, and that's where that video stopped for almost a year, or probably a good 8 to 10 months, probably, it didn't get any more views. Like, it was basically done, right? And then all of a sudden, the top 10 advanced tips video started to gain more and more views, and more views. You know, 8,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30, 40, 50, 100,000. It was just insane. And it's like nobody was watching this original top 10 beginner tips video. I mean, absolutely. It would maybe get like 5 views, maybe 10, while all this is happening. You know, it's the general idea that, as you can see, yeah, that, you know, I had a 20 character limit, so I couldn't say destroying communications. That would have been just too long, right? So, but yeah, you know, nobody was watching. Everyone didn't want to know what the beginner tips were. They always wanted to go right to the advanced tips. You know, I noticed that with a lot of other videos like IGN and whatnot. If IGN made a beginner tips and then they made like a pro tips, more people would want to go to the pro tips because they figured, well, you know, if you're a hardcore gamer, you already know the basic beginning stuff, right? You don't need someone to tell you about it, so you want to see the more advanced stuff, which is understandable. So as I spent several months remaking the top 10 beginner tips here, I basically went over this video over and over and over. I wrote down every little piece of information that I could glean from it. So anything that I thought was useful, I wrote down and I took out of this video so that I could put that into the next video, so that basically this video would become defunct. Like, it would be outclassed in every way. You know, there was no reason to go back to this video. So I had planned that specifically because I didn't want to make a top 20 beginner tips video and then still have the top 10 beginner tips video. You know, I felt like that was going to be too confusing. It's like, I wanted people to, you know, after watching my top 10 advanced tips video, which was the popular one, I wanted them to check out the top 20 beginner tips. And then later I called it Ultimate Edition. You know, a much better made video. I made these videos, yeah, up back in 2015. This would have been, like I said, about, you know, 2 or 3 weeks after the game came out, and I put them on the upload service. So, yeah, these are very basic tips, aren't they? So, Upload Studio is basically the video editing software that came with the Xbox One. You know, because you could obviously record gameplay footage using the built-in DVR, you know, just like you can with PlayStation 4. Yeah, PlayStation 4 also has their own editing software. I can't remember what it's called, but you downloaded it, and dang it, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, PlayStation 4 has its own little thing where you can take the clips that are currently on your hard drive and put them into a video. So that's what I was doing here. Like, I mean, seriously, I had no additional microphone. This is basically that little pause there is because of, I mean, that's just technical difficulties. But I'm literally using the $10 microphone that comes with the Xbox One. That's why this sounds like garbage. No pop filter, no rendering of any kind to the audio. I'm just recording it, you know, using the same little headset that you would have, the cheap little headset that comes with it, you know, which is probably cheaper than actually buying a separate $10 headset. And I remember I got a different headset when I was in Florida, because see, I made a lot of this stuff actually when I was in Florida because I had a lot of extra time on my hands. I was actually taking care of my dad. I would end up taking care of him in Florida for several months. So I was just pumping out content because I didn't have anything else. You know, aside from having to watch him during the day, you know, I was back in my little room, you know, and I had all this time. So I was recording video and putting these videos together and uploading them. So that's kind of how it is. But yeah, all this was going to the upload. It was going to the upload service first. So yes, they had Upload Studio, then they had Upload itself, and you could go to the Upload service and find all these video clips that other people had made. You know, you could find other people making content kind of like this. You know, and I basically put it there. And at the time, I think I'd gotten like 20 views, 30 views. You know, I think some of the videos that I had made that got the most views were maybe about 50 views. But it was a very limited service, and yes, there were people that were popular enough to be getting like thousands of views on the upload service, but it's like you had to know exactly what you were looking for, and the big part is that you had a limited amount of recorded video that you could have on your Xbox, period. And any of these videos that were being shown on the upload service, once you deleted them off your hard drive, or off your Xbox hard drive, I should say, then they were removed completely from upload itself. So, like, you couldn't have a vast category of videos that were produced like this. I could have maybe 3 or 4 at a time, because ultimately you could only carry, I think I figured it out one time, you could have about 100 minutes of recorded footage, from what I could tell, on your Xbox, saved at any one time. So, you know, if you're recording, you know, 10 one-minute clips to make a video out of, you know, like that, that's going to eat up some time. But yeah, it was the whole upload thing. Upload had the video image is probably blurred again. I probably have to do that to make sure that Konami doesn't claim. Sorry about that. Hang on here a sec. I got to open up my. Oh, yes, it's another energy drink. We will talk about that later. Hang on. Oh yeah. It's actually not as strong as some of the other stuff. I'm trying a different one this time. I don't know why I used this footage twice. I guess I figured it was special, right? Hang on a sec. I'm sorry if my audio sounds a bit different. I am actually not at my home right now. I'm actually taking care of somebody's animals, so I've actually been away from home for about 6 weeks now. What turned into be like a 1 week kind of thing, because the people that were here, they went out of town, turned into a 6 week long visitation at the moment. I'm using all my hardware though. I have my microphone here, I have my computer, I'm using all the settings that I normally do. I'm just in a different location, so the sound is probably going to bounce off the walls a bit different. And so that the sound resonance, it might be a little different than what you're used to. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't have time to fine-tune the audio, because I might only have a few more days left, and I wanted to get this recorded while I was at a place that actually had some really good air conditioning that I might actually be able to have on in the background and not have to worry about taking it out later. Like my place, I can't have my air conditioner on without it making way more noise than what should be allowed, obviously, if I'm recording audio. So yeah, the audio might sound a little bit different, so sorry about that. I made these back, okay. Toward the end of 2014, I started making videos using Upload Studio, which, like I said, is the video editor app on the Xbox One. I was putting these videos together for about 7 months, and they were all exclusive to the Upload service. You know, I'd put up a video, and they would get maybe a dozen views or so, or maybe 20, and, you know, then I would make some other one, and then I would make another one, and then I would end up having to take down that first one, because there wasn't enough room. You couldn't keep everything that you wanted on the service. And then in July, what am I saying? July of 2015? No, that should be like July of 2016. I started to bring these to YouTube. So most of my early video releases on YouTube were actually made on Upload Studio. And I continued to do this until about 2018. In about 2018, I started to switch to Windows Movie Maker. It's not called that technically anymore, but you can find out what it's called. But yeah, it's
Rescue Prisoner.
Yeah, I had to pick titles that were basically within 20 characters, because I mean that's all I could do. Rescue prisoners. Okay, so this is yeah. It's beginner tips. Beginner. Okay.
Well, if you look on your mission list and you look in the
So yeah, I was using Upload Studio until about 2018, and there came a point actually a few years later. I think it was once the new next gen version of Xbox was coming out, the Xbox Series X and S. Once those were kind of coming out, they basically discontinued Upload and Upload Studio. So you could not access Upload anymore. So all the people that were posting stuff on that, you know, it probably just wasn't worth the amount of money it would take to have all those servers and whatnot. So yeah, you wouldn't be searching for videos on Upload of people that uploaded to Xbox. You know, now it's all those people just had to basically move over to YouTube itself. But yeah, I can't use Upload Studio anymore. I can't edit videos on it. Haven't been able to for a little while. That's why I haven't been showing you video footage of how it actually works, is because I can't access it anymore. It's been discontinued. I was always hoping that maybe they would make a new one, but it could be one of those things where, you know, like, hey, we created this thing, we made some templates for it and whatnot, but it, you know, our indicator shows that, you know, less than 1% of our user base is actually using Upload Studio, so we might as well just cut funding for it. You know, stop trying to make fixes. That's totally possible. See, like the sniper, I had to close the gap because that's literally the character limit. So I couldn't even throw in numeral numbers. I couldn't even put, you know, number 1, number 2, because it doesn't fit. It wouldn't fit. I had to use all 20 spaces for the titles themselves. But I have said before that once I released my first remake version, the Top 20 Beginner Tips Ultimate Edition, I deleted this original top 10 beginner tips. You know, and you can see why. The audio is horrible. Quite honestly, the audio on these two early ones, I'm not that happy with. And honestly, even on the Top 20 Beginner Tips Ultimate Edition, the audio it's still a little weird, and that was done in 2018. It's not until at least 2020 when you hear my Top 20 Advanced Tips Ultimate Edition. With that, the audio is actually pretty clean. It takes, for all you people that want to make videos on YouTube, your audio is the thing that's going to take a little bit of time to dial in. And even now, like I'm not 100%, you know, real familiar with the settings and whatnot when it comes to a equalizer settings. Like, you know, some people can they know exactly what kind of equalizer setting they need in order to balance out their audio, and they can do it within a couple of minutes. But wow, this is the original click for more, which you couldn't do in Upload. There is no way to click the screen. That was kind of the joke, because you could do that on YouTube, but there was no way to, hey, click on another video and see more of my content. It's like, no, that was the joke. You couldn't do that on Upload. You know, there's no way. But yeah, when I finished this, there was absolutely no reason to re-upload this video. There's no redeeming qualities about it. Anything that was useful, any information that was useful, I already took out and I wrote down, and I put it into the next one. You know, and like I was saying, at this, sorry, let me get some grapefruit juice. I use grapefruit juice because it kind of helps with your throat a little bit. But don't worry, I have my energy drink here. We will talk about that later. Oh, do I need to talk about the microphone? But the video's done, Stryker. What are you gonna do? I could talk about it in the next video. Okay, let's just move on to the next video.
This is Stryker of Enyo. This is the big one.
I said this is the big one again. You know, and the thing is that the amount of time between making the top 10 beginner tips and the top 10 advanced tips, it would have been only maybe a month, you know. That's the thing about making these videos in Upload Studio, is the fact that all of the video that you have recently recorded that is still on your hard drive is what you have access to. Like I can't like collect clips and then delete them and then put them back on my Xbox hard drive in order to edit them together. It's like, no, you have to keep all of the footage that you want to use so that you can have access to it in Upload Studio, because you're only accessing your hard drive. You're not accessing your computer through a network or anything like that. Oh, this audio. I am so sorry. Your audio really does get destroyed in Upload Studio, if I haven't said that before. You will especially notice, well, hang on, let's just... What am I saying? At this point, I was using the cheap $10 Xbox One headset. See, like that little moment right there, that is what Upload Studio would sometimes do. Like, you would record your audio and everything sounds good, but then they would add this little bit of distortion sometimes when your audio would come to an end and like a new piece of audio would come in. So it was, oh my gosh. And obviously I have no, this is a $10 Xbox One headset. That's what I'm using at the moment. Now, eventually this headset stopped working, thank God. And I ended up getting a Turtle Beach XO1 headset, which is made specifically for the Xbox One. It wasn't expensive. At the time, it was maybe a $50 or $60 US headset, and it had a mic. But guess what? I am actually still using that one today for gaming. And I'm actually using that exact headset to listen to the audio and also my voice in this same recording. Now, I don't have the microphone part plugged into it because I don't need that. I have a more professional microphone. But yeah, I did use it for videos up to about 2017. And so I would have this, plugged into my, I'd have this headset plugged into my controller. And then I would have all these video clips, up to 15 clips at a time. Oh, that audio. I'm so sorry. I mean, seriously. That's why I was so upset that, YouTube decided to pick this up and, started to rocket it to 100,000 views and 200,000 views. Now, to be fair, a lot of people were very nice about the audio quality because, again, this was a video that came out in 2016. You can say what you will about, the audio quality and video quality of YouTube videos at the time. But, when you're starting out, you're not going to have... It was really hard to have access to a decent, microphone. I will not... that doesn't hold up nowadays. I really do believe that when it comes to, like, 2020, by 2020, you should have a decent sounding mic. There is no reason... There's plenty of options of decent sounding microphones that you can get for $40 or even, $60 or less. US. So there's no reason to have audio like this today on YouTube. You really should not. It's embarrassing to do this, especially the people that like to point a video camera at their television set. Like, dear Lord, there were still people that were doing that like in 2013, 2014. It's like, get yourself a capture card. All those people that worked like for Channel Awesome or, that were doing their own types, they got themselves like a $20 or a $40 cheap little capture card. It's like, get a capture card. Don't point your multi-$100 camera, at your TV and record audio for games that way. That's just dumb. So that's what I was doing here. And I was using the Turtle Beach XO1 headset. I don't know when I exactly switched over here. I probably recorded this. This might not be on the XO1. But I was using it up to 2017, and then I got a Samsung condenser microphone, which, to be honest, is about a $40 microphone, $40 US. So it's not a real expensive one. but it was separate and it was better. And that's what I started to use up until the end of 2021, and that's when I got the PreSonus Revelator, the microphone that I'm using now, which is much better. Hang on, I need to take a hit. Oh. Well, yeah. So audio is gonna take some time, you know, for you to figure out. But yeah, this was made in early December of 2015. It came out to YouTube. This is the top 10 advanced. This came out to YouTube in August of 2016. So when 2015 ended, I just called that basically my first season. It was all stuff that was basically put on upload. So, and then I only, no, wait, I did 2015, yeah. But I only made, well, either way. I think I eventually made this, yeah, like my first season. And then season 2, I think, is technically when I started to upload stuff to YouTube. But it might not be. Even though I only uploaded, no, I uploaded content to YouTube from July to December of 2016. And that's what I called my first season. Instead of doing a full year, because I had been uploading stuff actually to upload, you know, for like 7 months. So that's what it is. Instead of going from July to July, it was just easier to remember that, hey, it's a new year, that means it's a new season. And you might end up wanting to do that yourself. It's just easier to remember. And it's also, it's better for the audience too. You know, hey, it's January, it's a new year, it's a new season of blankety blank goes blank, or whatever you call yourself. But yeah, this is the video that started it all. It was because of this video that I remade the beginner tips video, and I was planning on remaking the advanced tips video sometime after that. This video, this is the one that I talked about. This video topped off at 2,500 views, and that was it. And for I think I just said the wrong info before, but it stayed at about 2,500 views for about a year and a half. It just didn't get any more views. You know, maybe like 3 or maybe 5. You know, because maybe some other people saw some of my other videos, or they ran into some of my other videos. But yeah, that was it. And then a year and a half later, it started to get views. You know, and then all of a sudden, I think PlayStation Plus had it. Or I think Xbox, not Game Pass, because that didn't exist yet. But Xbox, for their games with gold, I think they had it free for a month. And then PlayStation Plus had it on their service free for a month. And, but it was slightly before that, too. So the game must have been going on sales on a regular basis. And it still is today. You know, you can still get this game for probably around $5 US on a good sale. If you get one of the bigger editions that also include the Phantom... No, this is the Phantom Pain. But if you get the one that also includes like the little demo area, you know, the separate game that started off at like $30, you know, you can get everything for like maybe $8 or $10 US. And I think even on, I even talk about adaptive difficulty. Wow. Even on Steam, you know, I think you can get this thing for around $10 US when it goes on sale. Maybe the definitive edition. I'm not exactly sure. Because I'm not necessarily big on Steam at the moment. But yeah, after like a year and a half of getting absolutely nothing, all of a sudden this video started to get views. It was at 20,000, 40,000, 60,000. And I'm like, okay, when as it was doing that, I'm like, you know what? I should really remake the first video, because that video wasn't getting any views. It topped off at 1,500. That was it. You know, the top 10 beginner tips, nobody was going back to rewatch that. Aside from maybe 5 or maybe 8 people, you know, they weren't going back to that. So then I started to put into work of getting that done. But yeah, this came out in August of 2016. and it's sitting now at just a little bit over 430,000 views. And that's insane. It's my most popular video on the site, and it basically is the reason why I am going to make a top 20 pro tips. I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but that's the whole reason why, is because YouTube found it. I wish they didn't. I wish I wish it would be my more humorous sketches, or my How the F Did I Die, or something else. I wish one of those would be getting 20,000 views. But, this is just how YouTube works. It's going to pick up something that you did, and it might be something that you don't really like. But if you want to, try to make some money on YouTube, you're just going to have to bow down and, worship the YouTube algorithm, like a lot of people do. But, okay, pro tips, we're not talking about that yet. I do have it written down here. I'm looking. Oh my gosh, that is actually it. That's it for talking points. I didn't really have a whole lot for this video. But yeah, this fun fact about this one is, I think I have said before about the fact that the video limits on Upload Studio were 15 segments and 30 minutes. Like, those were, you couldn't break 30 minutes. And you'll notice this is 29 minutes. I really tried to have this all be one video. And you might be thinking, well, Stryker, how in the world, with only being able to use 15 segments, were you able to put that in here? Because clearly you're having a lot of cutaways. You're not using 2-minute long segments of clips. I'm like, well, that was one of the things that I did. What I would do is I would, like I said, you had 15 segments, and that doesn't mean just video clips. That also means, like, the intro cards, like the Fulton yourself. That is technically one segment. So any intros, any outros, any of that stuff, any title cards that you have pop up on screen, those are all considered a segment. So I would basically take those 15 segments, and I would put them together, and I would try to cover a topic. So I would have about, maybe 6 minutes long, and maybe an 8-minute long segment, which I think is what I did. Like, you see, that was over with pretty quickly, so I might have actually put these two back to back. So I tried to put as much as I could together with those 15 segments. One segment to be a title card for the topic, and then, maybe like 3 or 5 videos, and then I'd try to move on to the next one. So I would take all those 15 segments, to whatever I could, and then I would render that out into its own video. And then what I would do is, then I would make another segment that was maybe, another 15 segments, and it would basically be continuing, what I was talking about. I would have, segments like, I'd have the intro, and then segments 10 and 9, all in one video that would be like maybe 6 minutes long. But I used up my 15 segments, so okay. Then I would put together another video that would have segments, what did I say, 10 and 9. I'd have like 8, 7, 6, and maybe that's it. And then I would make, that would be another video that would be about, maybe 6 minutes long or maybe 7 minutes long. It all depends on, how much time I needed. And then when I went through everything and I did that, I would make one last video, and I would actually reuse those original rendered segments. So I would take the segment that had like the intro and then parts 20 and 19. I would take that, which might be a 6 or an 8-minute video, and I would pop that into the software. And then I would take the next segment that would have, segments 18, 17, and 16, and I put that in there.
Yeah, those things are fun.
So the video would end up getting re-rendered twice. So that's kind of why some of this video here is, it's kind of blurry, because it basically got rendered twice. Because I would have like, like 5 additional, 6 or 8-minute segments, and I would redo that. And then I would have sometimes the intro and the outro would be like fresh segments. I would use the best quality footage for that. And that's how I would do that. You know, I would actually have re-rendered footage that I had already rendered out, you know, the first time. But, you know, once again, I couldn't overdo 29 minutes. So I think, but I had, because I had all this originally done, and it was like 29 minutes long, 29 minutes and something like 30 seconds. And it was crashing every single time. I couldn't get it to work. So I believe on this particular video, I actually went into Windows Movie Maker. I took all my clips and I put them in there, and then like the audio commentary would have already been part of the clip. You know, like, so I basically just had to take these few segments and put them in there. So I basically put it together because, yeah, I couldn't get the final video to render, you know, because like 29 and a half was just too close to the maximum, I guess. So yes, this video itself could not, I actually put it out in parts on the upload service. I think I did like a 15-minute segment, and then I did like a 10-minute segment. And, you know, that's just what I had to do. But I think I did it in 2 parts. Those 2 parts don't exist anymore, because ultimately this version that you see here is a much better done. But yeah, I used Windows Movie Maker for a few things. But I don't recommend that because it has some severe limits. Like, you can only have, I think, 3 audio channels. So if you have a video that has audio in it, that's going to be 1. If you decide to do commentary on top of that video, that's going to be 2. And if you decide to add music to that on top of that, that is going to be 3. And you might be saying, well, Stryker, how can I add sound effects to it? And it's like, well, technically you can't, but that's when you have to do little tricks like basically baking in the music in the background, or you have to bake in your sound effects into the video in the background, you know, or you have to add your audio commentary to the video on top of the game audio, and then that gives you an extra channel to be able to do something. Now, you know, as of 2020, you know, and onward, maybe there's a difference. I mean, maybe there's a few changes, but that's the way Movie Maker was before. You know, you could only have 3 audios, so it had its own limits, but if you pre-rendered things into your videos, you could get around some of those limitations. But yeah, Upload Studio, I mean, nothing, I couldn't take a picture of an image or a screenshot of anything and show it in front of you. It didn't exist. As you can see, I have like Mission 18, you know, War Economy, and like I could do that up in the corner. Like I said, I could write down anything that was 20 letters long, or 20 spaces, I should say. You know, if it was 20 spaces, I could put that up in the corner, but like that was it. You know, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't make a text box. I couldn't add text to anything aside from what you see here, and it has to be in that predetermined spot. I don't think I could. I mean, I think you had maybe a little bit of freedom to where you wanted to put that text, and maybe you didn't. I'm not exactly sure. It's been a long time. I mean, you're talking, you know, it's been like 6 years since I've had to, you know, deal with this program, and dear Lord, it was really rough. It's so rough I have to take a drink of my energy drink. Oh yeah. Should I save to talk about energy drinks in the next video? It wouldn't be Stryker if you didn't talk about it. I'm actually drinking C4, not the explosive, the energy drink. This is C4. Hang on. Hang on. I'm literally holding my microphone with my one hand. As I have said, I do have all my equipment with me and my microphone. The only thing I don't have with me is my mic arm. You know, the arm that actually holds my microphone. I didn't have a place to put it because, you know, I'm sitting next to a couch in another chair. You know, I don't have a desk per se. Oh, there's that word again, per se. But yeah, this is C4. It's called C4. It's actually another zero energy. I mean, sorry. it is an energy drink. It has like 200 milligrams of caffeine, but it's zero sugar. As I've talked about before about when it comes to energy drinks, I've been trying to find ones that have zero added sugar and also 0 calories, or pretty close to 0 calories. I'm trying to slim down a little bit. I want to be on camera at some point. I have talked about. So, I'm watching my calories a little bit. It's just, I have to do it. I have to really do it for my own health as well. As you can see, I am not aiming down sights. I felt like that was being a loser. But in all honesty, when you aim down sights, the camera is actually closer to your target. And I don't know why. I just figured that, well, I'm a pro. I don't need to aim down sights like a little... I can't say the word because it's an audio commentary. I can't say that word either. I can't allude to it. Trouble. Did I actually spell troublemakers right? I think I actually made it fit, didn't I? See, even back then, I was removing troublemakers. But yeah, I'm trying to cut down so I can eventually show up on camera and do content like that. So and you don't you might heard some trainers will tell you that you don't want to be drinking your calories. It's like, what's better for you, having 300 calories in grilled chicken or 300 calories, in a fruity cocktail beverage? It's like, well, you're going to feel more full if you have those 300 calories in, grilled chicken. So you don't want to be drinking a couple energy drinks, which are going to, they're going to give you 300 calories. It's just more filling if I actually drink food. So I've been trying to watch a little bit. I must admit that C4 is not, it's not my preferred energy drink. It is a little flat. It's not as bubbly. But the reason I got a couple of them is because they had one that was Skittles flavored, and then they have one that is Starburst flavored. Starburst strawberry. Kind of interesting. Hang on, let me take a shot and let you know. It's okay. It's all right. 4% on your fourth and 2% on your. The only reason I talk about energy drinks is because I'm trying to find one that's like relatively inexpensive, but they're all like around the same price. Like I like Rain. And like they're all like priced almost like a Monster. It's like, like 2 cans of C4 is, it's like just under, $5 US. So it's not really that much cheaper than Monster or Red Bull or something like that, unfortunately. You always hope, it's like, if I can just find an energy drink that tastes really good, it's got a couple different flavors, and it's relatively cheap, like, I'll go with that. But it's like, no, there's not really a whole lot that, that start to remain cheap. So yeah, this is... I'm actually, I'm disappointed with this. I don't like the audio in this video. That's why I wanted to make a remake. I couldn't just let it be. I had to do something better. And what are we looking at? The top 20 beginner tips, which is much better. That's 210,000 views. And my magnum opus of the top 20 advanced tips ultimate edition, that's right about now, that's sitting at 70,000 views. But you know what? That was a lot of work. And I don't make any money off of it because, it has, like, it got flagged 7 times for copyrighted music. So I knew I wasn't going to make money off of it. But I wanted to, I wanted content that you guys can, watch and enjoy and get a bit of a taste of my personality. And then it's like, okay, but I need to make other videos that I can actually put ads on and make some money, and which, speaking of that, segue into, there are only a handful of videos that I can actually make income on. at the beginning of my 7th season, I decided to turn ads on because, quite honestly, I didn't turn on monetization because, from what I was kind of understanding at the time, is that I would probably be only able to make about $7 or $12 a month. And I figured that wasn't enough to bother you guys with ads, constantly throwing ads in your face, all the time. What, to make $8 for a month, to, barely be able to buy myself like a 24-pack of Mountain Dew, once a month? Like, I didn't think that really was worth it. But eventually I did sign up for the monetization, and the results are in. So, how much does Stryker make? It's not that great, but I'm getting about 19 to 20,000 views per month, and that's basically translating to about $30 some months, and some months I can make $50. But that's still 20,000 views, both ways, whether I make $30 US or $50 US. So it's like, well, in order to afford Premiere Pro, that's been $21 a month. So it's like, okay, that kind of takes, that. And quite honestly, the microphone that I bought, that was $100. What else did I upgrade? I got something else. Well, I got an additional hard drive, and I also got the what do you call it? The NVIDIA Shield, because I want to be able to put emulators on that and be able to play a lot of the older games like NES and Super Nintendo, because I don't have my collection anymore. I don't want to go into it, but basically I ended up losing everything. And because I used to have every console aside from a TurboGrafx 16 and the Neo Geo. Those were the only 2 consoles I didn't have. I had 5 NESs. I actually had 5 Dreamcasts, believe it or not. I had my original one that I bought. Then I bought 2 of them from a video store that was not going out of business, but when the Dreamcast got discontinued, I bought their 2 rental versions. And then I bought 2 brand new Dreamcasts for about $50 when the system itself got discontinued. So I had 5 Dreamcasts. And all the way up to the Wii and PlayStation 3. I had those, but it was very briefly, and then there comes a point when, you're not making enough money. But otherwise I had basically every main console from the NES up to PlayStation 3, give or take. But so I wanted to be able to have something that could emulate a lot of the like PlayStation 1 and Saturn and lower. And so I got myself an NVIDIA Shield, and shoot, we're running out of time. But anyway, so that was $180 there. So it's like I've spent money on the channel, for the channel, and obviously Premiere Pro is $21 a month. So it's taking care of that. But yeah, for the longest time I wasn't doing anything. I can't necessarily tell you exactly that. If you start your YouTube channel, that if you get 20,000 views, you are going to have the exact same, $30 or maybe $50, because ultimately it's not dependent on the views. As you can tell, it's actually dependent upon if people are watching the ads or if they're using something to, bypass the ads. So it's basically, I make most of my money on the skippable ads that you see that pop up. You can actually make it so that your channel has non-skippable ads. That's basically what IGN does. Like, if you're going to watch a video from IGN, they are going to force you to watch a 15-second ad. And then maybe the second ad will be skippable, but they're going to make you watch at least one ad that you cannot skip because they're IGN. And I believe G4 is the same way. Like, if you want to watch content from G4, you have to sit through that first 15-second ad that you cannot skip. And that's just the way it is. So you can do that, but I decided to put, a little mixture of both. But yeah, so it doesn't necessarily go by per 1,000 views like it used to back in the day. It's all about how much watch time you're getting toward your ads, how many people are watching the ads, and, are they letting them be on screen for a while, or are they clicking off of them right away? Hey there, Future Stryker here. I kind of went on a little bit too long about talking about figures and how much money and whatnot. I thought maybe it was a little boring, so I wanted to not go into too much more. And I didn't want to make it seem like I was complaining about the fact that I'm not making as much money as I wish I could on YouTube. I mean, everybody wants to make money on YouTube. I consider myself extremely blessed to be able to even make some money that's able to actually cover the costs of some of the basic stuff that I need, like equipment and whatnot. So don't get me wrong, it's great that I'm able to. I obviously wish I was able to make twice as much. Everybody would. But I also realize that, yeah, lots of people do YouTube and they don't make any money, or they make like $5 a month and like that's all they can do. So I just wanted to cut myself short before going into even more detail about all that stuff. And also I wanted to mention that I mentioned G4. Well, I recorded these audio commentaries originally back in the summer of 2022. G4 channel was still a thing back then, but not anymore. So that's why just keep with my did I mention IGN? Yeah, IGN is still the ones that if you ever click on an IGN video, you're pretty much that first ad is going to be a guaranteed 15-second long ad. And I mentioned before that I was going to put any history or whatnot at the end of the video. I've gone into more detail, and I've showed video stuff from Upload Studio in another video. I think, didn't I do that in the beginning of the 2.5 hour audio commentary for the top 20 advanced tips of Metal Gear Solid? I know I put some of that stuff in there. I don't think you guys really need much more backstory. You guys know by now that I did make these first two videos that you're watching here completely in Upload Studio. So I've said that kind of stuff before, so I didn't want to make this an official history of at the end of the video, but to remind you guys that yes, that was the kind of stuff I was dealing with. And I think that's about it. I will also explain quickly why I am not doing the history or the backstory in the beginnings of my videos, because, well, there was one day, for the audio commentaries, because one day I went to one of my audio commentaries and it's like, I don't want to watch 4 minutes of me talking about the history of a video that I made myself. I just want to go into the video itself and hear some of my comments about it. So that's basically what I did. I ended up pissing myself off, essentially, in an audio commentary. Yeah, my whole idea was that, well, let me give you the backstory about how this video came about. And then as we're talking about the video in the video, then like you kind of know the stuff that already happened. But like I said, I feel like I might end up scaring off some people. I do talk about it more in the audio commentary for the Lent series. But basically in that audio commentary, I talk about the fact that when I looked at the analytics for the audio commentaries that I did, and I pretty much end up losing about 80% of the audience, no matter how good or brilliant my audio commentary is, within about the first 10 or so minutes. So, you start to lose people like every couple of minutes, you end up losing like, another 10% of your audience. And like, that's just the way it is with audio commentaries. But that dedicated like 15%, like they stay and they watch the entire length of the audio commentary. So I wanted to put, basically if I have 4 or 5 minutes of history at the very beginning, then that means that there's a certain percentage that basically end up checking out of the audio commentary before they even get to the video starting proper, and before I can even talk about any of the cool behind the scenes stuff. So I just wanted to be able to get to the video quicker in that amount of time. Not that, like I say, in the end, it's that 15% that is going to stay throughout the entire video no matter what. So it's like that captive audience is already going to listen to me talk about the history. So why don't I just put it at the back, and then maybe I can, retain some of those early people a little bit longer by jumping into the video a whole lot quicker. So that's why I do that. And I'm not going to explain anything about making the sequel video, the top 20 pro tips for Metal Gear Solid 5. I talk about that actually in the other audio commentary. The next one, the one for the top 20 beginner tips Ultimate Edition. So yeah, I already talked about that there. So I'm eliminating any talk about it here. But yes, that video is coming, but it's going to take some time. It's going to be a while before you maybe see that, but I got more of those details toward the end of this, the other audio commentary, the one for the top 20 beginner tips Ultimate Edition. But hey, thank you so much. This was going on a bit too long, so like I said, I wanted to jump in, cut it short. I didn't want to make it seem like I was complaining about making money on YouTube. So hey, but thank you so much. We will see you in the next audio commentary.